My next guest was on board Air Canada Flight 8646 when it collided with an emergency vehicle. Jack Cabot joins me now. And Jack, thank you for taking the time. I'm sure you're still, I don't even know how you're feeling, but how are you doing right now?
You know, not the best day ever. Honestly, it's pretty shaken up, and but at the end of the day, I'm really happy that it wasn't just a whole lot worse. You know.
Yeah. What do you remember of the moments? Just tell me about, you're coming in for a landing. I'm sure you've been on a plane a number of times, and then what happened?
It was a regular flight, and then right as we hit the ground, we kind of felt like the brake was pretty hard, and we all felt something was wrong. And then it was just this sudden, overwhelming panic because we'd hit something, and there was nobody in control. There was no pilot still around, and it just felt like the plane was taking a course, and it was really in somebody else's hands, or it was in nobody's hands, whether we lived or died. And at the end of the day, I'm very thankful that so many people were able to make it.
I am certainly thankful about that as well. So can you just tell me a little bit about, it felt as though you had hit something? Is that what it felt like? Like something went wrong?
It felt like we hit a wall. I mean, It was a sharp bang. That's why everybody was so bruised up, was just because of how hard that impact was. That collision really rocked pretty much everybody. Yeah.
And so when it felt like it hit it like a wall, did the plane kind of did it stop very quickly after, as you know now, it was a fire truck?
No, it ran right into the wall, or it ran into the truck, and then it continued rolling. It was moving so quickly that there was already so many people bleeding for that couple seconds, and then it's continued just to be this terrifying moment where we didn't know if we were going to make it.
And so then what happened when the plane did stop? What happened?
There was this moment of, what do we do next? What's the right actions? I mean, we're all, as far as we all knew, most of us were okay. There wasn't a lot of crazy injuries in the back, and the people on the plane took charge, and they got the emergency door open, and they got everybody out, and it helped everyone kind of just jump off onto the plane, off onto the wing of the plane, and then onto the ground. And then we all kind of coalesced in the rain before the airport staff had arrived, and we all kind of just had this real moment of grappling of, wow, we just survived this, and oh my God, this is much worse than we thought. Yeah.
And so did you have any idea what had happened to the pilots at this point?
I was maybe one of the earlier people off the plane, and I walked around front, and I just knew. I mean, there was nobody that could survive that kind of collision, and a lot of passengers kind of had that same moment of realization. And
so when the plane came to a stop, did people, because we know now that there was one flight attendant that in her seat had been ejected from the plane, so there was just one flight attendant, right? And then the rest are just passengers. And then how did you get the door open? How did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, we thought a lot more people were injured by the looks of the plane. When we got all gone out, I mean, it looked like the whole front of the plane had been a crumple zone. So it was a miracle that the flight attendant survived. And really, I thought a lot of people in first class probably would have passed too. We just somebody just took charge and got the door open. And I mean, apparently they said it's quite heavy, so that's something I know now. Yeah.
And then so you got the door open, and then everyone's just walking on the wing, and then
jump out onto the wing, and then maybe another 5-foot jump onto the ground, and everybody's helping everybody, and we're all just trying to get through this one together.
And what about the other flight attendant? Did you kind of notice whether that person was around as well, or?
No, I didn't. I was I had a pretty narrow lens of what happened. I mean, there was a lot of things that happened in that moment, and I for example, during the crash, I really had my head down.
Yeah, and then have investigators spoken to you, or?
Yeah, they met with everybody, and Canada Airlines gave us their lounge while we were waiting around to get cleared for the airport, and we spoke to investigators there.
And I guess you told them what you told me?
Yeah, exactly.
And how long were you on? So once you had jumped off the wing, and then you're kind of standing around, how long before you all were attended to, and what kind of injury? Like, you seem fine. Are you banged up? How are you and physically?
I'm a little banged up. I think I'm a pretty frazzled, but I still think I'm really one of the lucky ones. I mean, a lot of people went to the hospital, and I was lucky to not. But they triaged, and they made sure that like the people who are the most critical got the first help, and then they kind of worked their way down from there.
So when you felt that impact, I mean, what did you kind of hit your head forward, or what happened? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I felt like that's what happened to so many people. I mean, everybody just kind of like slammed forward in their seat right as that happened.
That must have been just really, really scary. And so once the plane kind of stopped, how long before you all kind of figured out to open the door and get off the plane?
Maybe 30 seconds to a minute, but then some people took charge, and that was really helpful.
And in terms of the injuries around you, did you know, like, everyone was able to kind of walk off, or you got that impression?
Yeah, but there was some people that were bleeding pretty horribly. Yeah, I mean, most of the injuries were people banging their heads, so there was a lot of just like bleeding, but it wasn't like a lot of people like broken their legs or anything like that.
And then how long before they were able to get to you? How long before emergency vehicles got to you and were tending to you all?
5 minutes, 10 minutes. I mean, yeah, we were up in the rain for a little bit first, but yeah. And it took us a little bit to get off the plane too. I mean, plane lines don't usually move that fast, especially in the moment of a disaster. And there was a moment where the tip of the plane actually kind of snapped off the front. If you see the pictures now, you can kind of see where the front kind of fell off. And passengers were still on the plane, and that was a pretty scary moment too.
My goodness, were you still on the plane when that happened?
No, I was able to get off early.
You were able to get off early, but it must have made did it make a sound? Did it make a...
Yeah, it was a loud crashing sound. It was just, there was screams and...
Yeah. Wow, that is really rough. And so you're doing okay now?
Yeah.
More or less? More
or less, yeah. I'll be all right. And a lot of the passengers will be too. It's just such a miracle that there's not much... or that plane crash at several hundred miles an hour into a truck doesn't result in a lot more casualties than that.
What did you think when you kind of heard the news that you'd hit a fire truck that was crossing the runway?
That made sense, honestly, given as soon as everyone heard that, they were like, yep, that checks out. Because honestly, that's kind of it felt like a big collision. It also kind of felt a little bit like we've been hearing about airline troubles for quite a while, and this is the first time it really hit home.
Mm-hmm. Jack, we're going to show some of your pictures that you took, okay? Maybe you can just walk us through what we're seeing, okay? So this is you're outside, and you're just showing us around, I guess. Tell us a little bit about what we're looking at.
It was just a moment of complete disbelief for us. I mean, I don't think I really understood it, and in that moment, and I just knew that it was just going to be a lot to take in. So I just figured to really capture that. Yeah.
And Jack, can I just ask you, like, where's home? Like, you were traveling from Montreal to New York. Where's home?
I'm New York City born and raised. I grew up on the Upper West Side, and yeah.
Okay,
won't ever leave it.
So you are home. You are now home. Probably a good place to be. Jack, appreciate you talking to us. I hope you kind of, are able to kind of process all of this. I know, but we appreciate you taking the time to tell us about this harrowing experience, and glad to see that you're okay.
Yeah, and the pilots did the absolute best they could, and I'm forever going to be thankful for that.